Hey there, welcome back. We are talking all about why you need an org chart and how to create one, even if you're still hiring. So, no matter where you're at, whether you have 10 employees and you don't have an org chart at all, or whether you are kind of a jack of all trades and you've got a lot of contractors and people like that, we are going to cover who needs one, like what it is, why you want to create one, even if there are lots of missing pieces. So, super excited to be doing that. If you are brand new to us, my name is Stacey Tuschel, and I help small business powerhouses get more customers through the door, more profit in their pocket, and more happiness in their home through our signature method, well-oiled operations. And today we are going to be talking about a massive missing piece to many people's puzzle, and that is all about org charts. I'm going to bring that back. So let's discuss an org chart. Now, the reason you want one, it's not a fluffy thing. The reason you want one is because as you have one, you want to make sure people understand what it looks like and who talks to who, right? So you want to make sure you know, and it also has an awareness of who you should be hiring or why you're feeling overwhelmed. Do you know how many people will show me their org chart? And it's just, they're like, oh, I have 72 positions. This is why I'm exhausted and working 7 days a week, right? When you start to see all the things going on, or that no one is in operations, nobody is in fulfillment, nobody is your bookkeeper, right? You start to see where balls are being dropped and why that is happening. Okay. So, having an effective organization chart for your business is critical to your success. This is one of those things that I think people think, oh, it's like values, it's fluffy. We don't really need them. Do we really need a mission statement? I don't think so, right? This is one of those things that I actually, when a client will come to me, so if somebody's in well oiled operations and they're having some frustrations, I'll literally say to them, show me your org chart. And when I look at their org chart, it tells me so much about what is going on in their organization and why they are feeling messy, right? Why are they're feeling like the business is chaotic, why they think they have bad boundaries, all the things. Like the org chart tells us so much information, okay? Now, it's also as you're doing this, when everyone is reporting to you, there is no way to keep the expectations and communication clear. So one of the things that I love hearing is one of our clients, Christina. She said when like a year ago, she had 30 people in her organization just reporting to her because she didn't have an org chart. So everybody that came into the business just asked her a question, like quick text message here, like, hey, can I real quick ask you, right? It's always real quick. But when it's real quick with 30 people, it starts to massively add up. So Christina, a year later, went from 30 people to 5 people directly reporting to her. Do you see the difference, right? You don't even know Christina, yet you can probably feel the difference in her level of stress and how many interruptions she was getting a year ago with 30 people versus what it looks like today. We've got to get you figuring this out, okay? Now, with that said, you end up micromanaging, and somehow it still seems like things aren't getting done to your standards, or your team is confused, right? They don't know where to go to, who to bring this up to, right? The org chart really is to show who is owning this responsibility, right? So we just had a ball drop today. And it was nothing crazy, but it's a ball that was dropped. And I immediately said, well, we have a gap in our org chart right now. And this is so bad. I am the temporary fill in, and I am the one that didn't do it, which then didn't. Does that make sense? So, because there is nobody in this one seat, I am acting as that person, but I am yet not doing the greatest job because, hello, I'm doing 17 different jobs, right? As a CEO, we're wearing multiple hats. Balls are getting dropped. And it's just another reminder when we see our org chart, we are missing somebody on our team right now, which, in case you're listening and you happen to be that person, is really, truly at the head of marketing. And it's more of a project management basis than it is a vision. I am definitely the marketing vision, but I need somebody to hear my thing and just make sure that all happens and make sure it all gets done. And because we are in the middle of hiring that person and I'm still kind of that person, I'm dropping balls, right? And that is a common story that we hear with small business owners, right? Because we are wearing way too many hats. Okay. All right. So let's do this. This is what we're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is step one is you're going to take an assessment of your org chart. Now, it doesn't have to be fancy. Like you're going to see mine in a minute. I'm going to gift that to you. So if you want to just say org chart in the comments below, if you're listening on the podcast, you can DM me on Instagram org chart. So all you're going to do is you're going to get out a piece of paper and a pen, and you are going to draw you a big circle, and it's like me, right? And from here, what's going to happen is you're going to draw everybody else in the organization. You're going to be like, well, I have, she's kind of like just my right hand. So I've got her, and then I've got this person, I've got this person. And the question becomes with all these circles, who reports to who? And usually this is how it goes when I'm working with one of my clients. They're like, oh, dang, like she's reporting to me. She's reporting to me. She's reporting to me. She's reporting to me. She's supposed to be reporting to her, but she's definitely reporting to me, right? And they do this messy little document, and that's when we go, okay, let's scrap this. How do we, new page, here's me. Who do I want reporting to who, right? How do I get, like Trisha on our team, a lot of our clients know Trisha. Trisha does not report to me. She reports to Sarah. Now I see Trisha, like I see her on our team meetings. We're on, certain calls together, right? We were at our team retreat the last 2 days. We were there together, right? But on a daily basis, Trisha is not messaging me. She's not tagging me. She's not asking me for things because she reports to Sarah. And by just even putting somebody in place like that, what's happening is it's one less person to interrupt, right? And I don't say interrupt in a negative way, but it really is an interruption into what you were working on, right? So you want to make sure that you're thinking about assessing what is actually happening. So do that little activity, okay? Okay, next. I want you thinking about preparation. Now, the preparation here, because here's what happens. People see the org chart and they're like, oh, I'm just going to tell Trisha to report to Sarah. So they just immediately set up a meeting. They're like, Trisha, you're going to report to Sarah. And here's where in a minute, I'm going to tell you that goes wrong. Okay. So don't do that. What you're doing first is you're preparing and brainstorming yourself. Do not bring this up to the team. Do not tell them what you're thinking yet. I'm going to get you there, but not yet. You brainstorm and you figure this out yourself. Okay. So you've got prepped what you think you're going to do. From there, then we have initiation. Okay. And here's what I want you to see with initiation. Initiation can actually be a hidden initiation on your end that nobody knows is happening. What do I mean by that? Okay. So first, let's say, you've got Sarah. I'm going to keep using this example. I've got Sarah, and I know Sarah knows how to manage people. I've seen it. She's done it. She has experience in it. I'm happy with her performance of managing. Okay. I can say to Sarah, and I can initiate the conversation of, what do you think about taking Trisha on as one of your direct reports? Okay. That could just be a conversation we have together. I could invite Sarah to step into this role where Trisha reports to her. Okay. They might say to you, listen, I don't want to manage. That's one thing I didn't want to do when I came here, right? You just never know. So you want to initiate and have a conversation. You do not just tell somebody, oh, by the way, this is what's happening. Okay. Because that's not what they signed up for, right? Now, if, let's say, I have never seen Sarah manage before and she has zero experience with it and not a proven track record, instead of me saying to Sarah, hey, would you like to manage Trisha? What I would do, and we just did this with the studio and it worked so well. We had this person that we've never seen manage. We've never seen be like the director of something, but we were hoping maybe he was the guy. So instead of getting his hopes up and saying, hey, do you want to be this person? And then it didn't work out. And they're like, so listen, you've actually not been great at that job. We're going to demote you because what are you going to say? Right. So what we did with this person was we gave him a few more responsibilities and roles over, like, say, a 30-day period. And he had no idea what was happening. He just thought we were asking for extra help. And could you do this? And could you do that? And right. And he was doing it. And he did really well. After we saw it in action and saw this is really our person, we then presented this person with an offer of, we've seen it. We think you'd be great. Are you interested? This will save you. This will save you, because here's what happens. You get somebody who's like killing it in sales. And then you go, We want to promote you to sales manager. How many of you have done this? And then you're like, wait a minute. They're good at sales, but they suck at managing. And they're a horrible sales manager. And I just want to bring them back down to just being in sales. But how do you demote after you've just promoted, right? So by having this like hidden test or task or whatever, it's really just better for both of you because nobody wants to feel like, oh, I was promoted and now I'm demoted, right? So it's good for them and it's good for you of just like giving them a few simple tasks. Okay. And then the last piece is this implementation. So going into it and actually saying, you know what? Instead of just like, hey, you're the new manager or they're going to report to you. What I want you to do is to say, listen, I would love to do a 30-day test. I would love to do a 90-day experiment. Are you interested? This shows them this is not a done deal. It's just not, you're not just giving it to anybody, right? I think this will help you when you get excited and want to just promote somebody and then it's not a good fit. Now they know it's a test. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see if this is a good fit or not. And yes, it's still going to be a hard conversation after the test is over if it wasn't a good fit. But at least they didn't hear, I'm promoted, and they changed their Facebook or their LinkedIn profile to being manager at fill in the blank, your company, right? And now 30 days later, you're asking them to take it away, right? If you tell them this is a test, everybody is aware that it's possibly not permanent. Does that make sense? Say yes in the chat. Okay. Now, a strategically planned organization chart changes the business game when it comes to leveling up accountability and efficiency. That is what I want you to hear. That is the part I want you to know. If you're thinking, I just want to scale, I just want to grow, I just want to, and you don't have an org chart, first of all, there are so many problems with that. Number one, the biggest problem is you want to scale, yet you don't even know who you have, what roles are empty, what's missing, who's reporting to who, all the things, right? So you have to get really clear on that before you can add fuel to the fire, right? Get clear on your org chart. And then from there, you can start to say, how do I scale from here? Okay. Now, if you want a copy of my org chart here at Foot Traffic, you can see what positions we have, who reports to who, all the things. Comment org chart underneath this, wherever you're watching this. Or if you're listening on the podcast, go to Instagram, DM me org chart, and I will send it to you completely free. It's just a PDF copy of, again, who is in what, like what positions do we have, who reports to who, all of the things. It will give you a baseline to you to make this. Now, it's a pretty picture in Canva, right? Yours doesn't have to be pretty. Get out your piece of paper, scribble down what it is, and you just rip that off and put it somewhere in your office so you understand, right? Somebody on your team eventually can help you make it pretty and all the things, but you don't need to do that yet, okay? All right, so perfect. Comment org chart. Lisa, I see you commented. We are going to get you that. Otherwise, if you're listening, DM me on Instagram. Okay. We're going to switch gears. I am bringing on one of our amazing clients, Sarah, in a second here. She's going to come on. This is an on-air coaching call. So this is something we've been doing every Thursday, bringing in some of our Powerhouse Mastermind members, having them ask some questions. And then I know a lot of times as you're listening, you get some value out of what they're asking. So Sarah, let's bring you on. All right. I need to make you. There you go. Sarah. Hello.
Hi, Stace. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right, Sarah, tell everybody what your business is, and then you just ask any questions you have. I would love to answer them.
Okay. So my husband and I own two businesses. I'll cover the one that I'm primarily in, and then we'll just touch on his too, because I think they go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So I own a hair salon. We are in the process of reinventing ourselves, like so many other businesses. I feel like we're in a really big reset. So we are on a mission to detox and rebuild the way women understand their hair, their beauty routines, so they show up confidently in their lives.
I love it.
I think we have a fantastic framework that we take women through. And what we have found is that framework not only works in the salon, but I can actually do this with clients online too. So that's been a nice
amazing
revenue stream to open up. My husband's business is a construction company. He helps families turn their houses into forever homes.
Mm,
Um, so you remember we started that a year ago,
yeah.
and he great timing. His business is blowing up, so
I mean,
thankfully,
construction is just insane right now. That's a
yes,
perfect timing.
yes. So he's doing great, which is great because essentially his business is in the process is funding my business.
Yeah,
Just to be honest, and it kind of stinks, but I think the reality of rebuilding a business, like landing the plane and not trying
yeah,
to rebuild it while you're flying. It's like just land the plane, let's
yeah,
fix some things, and
yeah,
then
for
we'll
sure.
we'll take
Slow
off
down and
again.
speed up later.
Yeah, yeah. And it hurts because I want to go, go, go.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously I'm just living, binging well-oiled operations.
yeah.
Um, so org chart, our our org charts are slim.
Okay.
There just aren't that many people right now in our businesses, and they're both service-based businesses, so that's tough. We do have a fantastic executive assistant, and she has the potential to
Amazing.
go anywhere on our team. She could do, I mean, she could, in my mind, she could grow into any role. So I
Yeah,
love the let's try this, let's try that.
yeah.
Our biggest focus within the salon business is recruiting, onboarding,
Okay.
training, really creating all of our operating systems. So I think I probably have some blind spots of places where I'm just hoarding work
Okay.
and not
Oh,
letting her
hoarding work.
take over.
Oh, okay. I love that phrase
Yeah,
that you said that. Okay, I might steal that for some messaging there. Hoarding work.
feel free.
So, I think what happens a lot of times is you just know you and what you're doing, and we have this belief of like, well, that's not something anybody could just do. Like, I've been doing this and I know how to do this, and I don't think she's gonna know how to do this, right? And what I will tell you is just by having my EA involved in hearing what's on my plate and she sees my work involved, she'll a lot of times say, "Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I'll take
Mhm,
that off your plate." And I'm like, "Really? Because I don't think this would be like, I don't know if you could." And she's like, "No, I really think I could do that. Like, I understand it. I think I could try to do that." Right. I
mhm,
think let them see what you have and see if there's anything that they believe they want to take a stab at, give it a shot. Like, do you know, I don't know if you saw inside of Well Oiled, we just came out with this crazy spreadsheet of all the things in the program and like how to know where you're at progress wise. That had been on my to do list for 90 days. Okay. Christina said, "Hey, do you want me to try that?" Because she's watching me like not do it. Right. And I was like, I don't know. I think this is kind of like a big project like I would have to do. And she's like, "But isn't it just like watching the program and then being like, hey, did you do this?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, kinda, right?" Like, it's like, I don't know if it's that easy. So she said, "Well, I think I could take a stab at it. Like, do you want me to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." She tries it, and I'm like, "Holy cow, it was better than I was even thinking I was going to do it." Like, she went so far that I was like, "Whoa, I wasn't gonna create that much, but even better." Do you see what I'm saying?
mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm.
if she didn't see that it was on my to-do list, would she have ever known to say, "Let me try that"? Never. Right? So I think the more you can show what is there, what needs to be done, is going to even have her go, "Oh, I think I could probably do that." Or you saying, or giving even her the permission of saying, "If you see something you think you could help me with, could you just speak up and say it? Because like, I have control issues, or I just think, well, that's like my job, right? But if you think you can help me, hey, that's why you're here. Like, please help me make this easier and lighter and all the things." Does that make sense?
Yeah, so let me ask you a really practical question.
Yeah.
Are you letting her see your to-do list in monday.com? Like you're just dumping it into your own board,
Yeah,
or
and
you
really
just
everybody on the team can see my to-do list for the week.
yeah,
Like, it's not a hidden thing at all. So she can see everything assigned this week.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a big mentality shift for me
Okay.
that
Like, does that feel
like
like, "Oh
just
my goodness, she's gonna see my list?" Or what does it feel
um
like?
well, we just made the decision, like we had dabbled with where can we not use monday.com and not have the expense? And, it's just not
Well,
great,
it could
right?
still
So
be a Google Doc. I mean, we show you what ours looks like. You could in a Google Doc show what you've got planned for this week and keep doing it on a weekly basis.
yeah, I think we're just at a point because we have so many moving parts. It's just like, suck it up and do monday.com. Just, you know,
Um,
stop stop making the to-do list, creating the
yeah.
to-do list, the excuse of
Well,
why you're
but
not
let
doing
me
anything.
ask you, because if you're doing it for an expense reason though, have you checked into free versions of certain softwares?
So thankfully, monday.com does have a free version with just two
Oh,
people in it.
oh, I
So
didn't even realize
that's
that.
just
Okay.
start there.
Okay,
It kind
yeah.
of takes some digging to get them to admit that, but they do. Yeah. So don't, if it's just you and one other person, don't add like all your
Okay.
contractors right
Then you can
away.
do it.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, at least get it set up and
Okay. So
stop
then
making
then
that the silly excuse.
right, try to do that and get it systematized that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So it does just feel like, oh, I'm just going to put all my cards out there and show them like,
What okay, what are your cards? Like, what are you nervous about? What is she gonna see? Like, what are you thinking? There's a thought there. What are you thinking?
I don't know. So, we started this process at the beginning of the year to start pulling the thread of like, hey, our pricing doesn't work. It's just, it's not consistent, it's not profitable, blah, blah, blah. So you start pulling that thread and then you realize, oh, it's not working because our compensation plan doesn't work.
Okay.
So you
So now,
you
like, am I
just
putting compensation plan on there and people see that? Is that what you're thinking?
yeah, and it's probably honestly just the very basic control thing of like, I there's updates that need to be done on our website. I just know how to do it. I know how to do it faster than sitting down documenting it. Like I don't have the system mindset, right? Like
Okay.
this isn't the last time
Can
a
we go there?
website has to be updated. Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay. It's just faster for me to go on WordPress and just make the change myself. Like, probably you're right. Okay. But how, like you just said, it's not the last time you'll have to do it. So, how many times will you have to keep doing it and then look at, but if I just slowed down one time and recorded it and then trained her, right? At what point does it actually start to give me more time back? And you know the answer to that. You
Right.
know it's better to pass it off than to just do it yourself.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And there
why
are
still do it?
I don't have a good reason. I think I'm nervous. I think at the end of the day, I think I do things better and,
Okay.
whatever. And I just have to get over the nerves of like,
Yeah.
this is showing somebody my process. I'm not asking you
Mhm.
to reinvent the process right now. I'm
Yeah.
just asking you to do it. And even just the thought of like, this doesn't mean they get a new title. This doesn't mean like
Yeah.
doing some of this initiation behind the scenes of, could you just try helping me? And let's see how they do. And if it's
Let's see
awful,
how they do.
then be like, thank you for
Thanks.
your help. I'll
And
take
when
it
you say
back.
like, "Hey, I've got a few projects," not like, "Hey, do you wanna do this new permanent thing where you update the website every week?" It's like, "No, hey, I just need help for like the next 2 weeks. Could you help me with this?" And they just think it's 2 weeks. So if they do a bad job in 2 weeks, you just take it away and like, "Thanks, that was amazing. I appreciate that."
Yeah.
Done. They don't
Yeah.
touch it again.
Yeah. That feels like a I don't want to say a sneaky secret, but it does just feel like a less pressure way to
I
just
did have somebody say, "That does feel sneaky." And I'm like, "Listen, would you rather have me come in on like it's almost like this." Okay. This is a random example I've never used before, so give me a second as I pull this together. But imagine if my husband didn't know if I was like the wife, but he was just like, I'm just gonna ask her anyway. You know what I mean? Like he has to do some like things going on behind the scenes of in it when we're dating and asking himself, like, is this really the person I want to spend the rest of my life is this really like you better hope they've done some research and thought this through and maybe like asked you some important questions before they propose. And then they're like 30 days later, like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. I actually thought it, but I didn't ask you. Like, no, we do this in every aspect of our life. You do due diligence before you just make a big move.
yeah, and I think there's a way to share like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure some stuff out. Could you
Yeah.
try this and see if you like doing it?" And, you know,
100%. And that's why I use that language of like, listen, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I'm looking for this. And I'm thinking, what if we tested in a 30-day project? And let's just see. But then no, you have to have an honest conversation in 30 days of, this isn't going to work out. And now it's like, is there a weird feeling? Are they going to quit and completely? Because they're like, well, I thought I was going to get this role and now she just took it away from me. Right. So for me, it's like, give a little bit of responsibility without putting that label on and then possibly it not working out.
Yeah. I think that's actually probably been one of the biggest things within Well-Oiled, even in compensation, right? Where you said, hey, don't present this as the compensation plan. And it's so true. Like in corporate America, you're getting a compensation plan every year. You get a
Yeah.
fresh one, new goals, new, right? But you don't just like hold
Yes.
on to it. So I think there are so many things that I feel like I have to have this figured out before
Right.
this other thing. And it's okay to just say, this is what we're trying for now.
Yeah.
And it might change.
It's totally okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think maybe because you come from that corporate background, when somebody presented something, it was like, this is it. And it's polished because this is a corporation and they know what they're doing and all the things. But in small business, we're testing, we're experimenting, we're figuring out if this makes sense as we grow to new levels we've never grown before.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes. And the deadline thing, right? Like, because my husband's business is doing so well, I feel like I have this, like, it's this, I want to figure things out fast, but things will take as much time as I give them. So
Yeah.
I'm still just like trying to find the balance of when do you cut it off and just say, this is good enough. We got to go. We got to keep going. We got to get people moving.
Give me an
That's the
example.
tough.
What is good enough? Like what's something you've been debating?
So we know that we are putting in a new onboarding program
Okay.
where for the first time ever, we're going to hire um, hairstylists right out of hair school.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
in my mind, this is exciting. This is a big deal. I kind of
Yeah.
have the basics, but I don't have it all buttoned up.
Yeah.
And, in the past, we've talked about like hire somebody, just stay a couple days ahead of them,
Right.
like it doesn't have to be all buttoned up. But I
Right.
kind of get in this like, but if it's not buttoned up, what if I tell them this and then I have to change it? And yeah. So I want
So you're in the
everything
process of
answered
creating
before
an onboarding process right now?
yes.
Okay. Um, Stay enough ahead where you feel confident, right? Like somebody can stay, like if I'm training somebody might feel confident being like, well, if I'm training her on Tuesday, I just gotta like figure out what I'm gonna teach on Monday. Somebody
Yeah.
feels good about that. Somebody
Yeah.
does not. Like somebody's like, what? What if you got sick that day or you didn't feel good or you ran out of time? Like, what if it takes longer than a day, right? Somebody's like, I'm gonna need to know this 30 days ahead of time. So I think you've got to figure out who are you and how, like even creating well-oiled operations. When we created it back in we started creating it in January, or I should say, we launched it the end of January. I was a month ahead of content. I mean, we were still in like COVID season, right? Like, who knows if I could have gotten sick or something would have happened and I just couldn't record
Hmm.
or I didn't want to be on camera. So to me, I felt good having a 30-day bank where I was 30 days ahead of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So figure
Yeah.
out where your comfort
Yeah.
level is and then do that.
Yeah. And then I think I just need to be accountable to somebody that this is happening by this date. Like
Okay, well, good
this is
thing you're in Powerhouse and you get to say to your coach, "Could you hold me accountable that I do this by then?"
no, because I know
Let's
Kara's
do that.
watching this already and she's like, you have a date on the calendar.
Okay, what?
Okay.
Okay, now you're just being crazy. You already have the date. We're holding you accountable. Done. Done.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Sarah, thank
Done.
you for coming on.
End of May.
Yes, end of May. I look forward to seeing it as well. Okay. So
Okay,
thanks
thanks.
for being here. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for just sharing and asking real questions and real struggles that you're having because somebody has that or will have that. And because of you, they will be 2 steps ahead of knowing like where to go from here. So appreciate you so much, Sarah. Thank you for coming on today. All right, guys. Now here's the deal. Every time this happens, I have somebody who will watch Sarah and they can coach her so easily. Like, Sarah, just let go of control. Just do this, just do that. But pause because you either are Sarah right now or have been Sarah, right? But you can't see it when you're there. You're like, just let it be good enough, but then you're the one micromanaging, right? It's so easy to coach somebody else. And I love bringing on air coaching on because I feel like you can see it. But now you have to ask yourself, is there any part of what she was saying that maybe I struggle with, that I am also involved in or participating in, or all the things, right? Because if you can see it in her, you've got to be able to look within and go, okay, because it's a blind spot, right? So look within and go, where am I being exactly where she is? And what did I just say to her? Was I just like, let go or do this or do that? Now you've got to coach yourself. Sound good? So thanks for jumping on. We talked all about org chart in the beginning. If you did not grab our org chart, make sure to comment below org chart or DM us on Instagram and we will send that over to you. Building out that org chart is going to give you clarity. It is going to help you when you finally go to scale. It's going to help your team start to see where the missing pieces are. And hey, I could help you do that if you're looking for this person or that person, right? There is so much that comes from that organization chart. So go check ours out and then model it for what you need to be creating in your business. All right. I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.